I'm Eric Harley. We're at the Mid-America Trucking Show in Louisville, Kentucky. This is one of my favorite times every year. One of my favorite things to do is sit and talk about the TA Petro Citizen Driver Program. I have served as a judge from the first year, and I've also been able to talk about it here on the program. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of sweating going on during the judging process because there are so many great nominees every year, and it's a very serious task, and I'm so honored to be a part of it. But the fun part of it is to talk about the honorees every year and the stories behind the drivers who are being honored by TA Petro via Citizen Driver. We're going to start with this year's nominees, and we have three outstanding individuals that we're going to talk to right now. Kenn and Beth Zelten, we're going to start with. Kenn and Beth, welcome to the program, and congratulations on being honored here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
How does it feel?
It's very humbling. It's impressive to see all your stats and everything come across the screen, and because we don't keep us running score on what we do. So
yeah. Well, you know, what's interesting is that as a judge, we get the dossiers, we get a rundown, we get a really good look into your career and your lives, who you are as individuals, and this is what I love about this program, and honoring the people behind the wheel, the people that are great stewards of this industry, great ambassadors for the trucking industry and their communities. Elizabeth, y'all have been driving together here. It says 30 years as a team. 30 years. Wow.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Yeah. How difficult is that? I talked to another husband and wife team yesterday. What's the key to that success story? Behind the wheel, together, married. What is that success? How do you make that work all the time?
Well, from the beginning, it starts out with learning each other's routine.
Yeah.
What's important, what's not, what buttons not to
Right,
push,
right.
what buttons to push, things like that.
That's what the couple said yesterday.
Yep, definitely.
Know where, you know, that you kind of know where those boundaries are.
Yes, you learn that in the first few years, and then it turns to respect. You have to begin to respect each other for what we do. Trust, a lot of trust goes into that because you're sleeping behind the other, and we each have our own things to do, so I trust that he keeps the truck up. He trusts that I keep the books in line. So we have separate things to do, but we still work together, and it takes practice.
Yeah, Kenn, what would you add to that?
I would add to it that people don't realize when you're running a truck as a team, you actually don't see the person, because you're always passing on the baton, more or less. It's like a race. One gives it over to the other one, and you go on. Yeah. And that person generally gets in the bunk back there, and we're tired, you go to sleep. Yeah. And unless the truck changes its rhythm or RPMs or something, you're back there sleeping. Yeah. So it isn't that, downtime is where you get to meet your partner again.
Yeah, right. You served in the Army in the early 70s. What can you tell us about your service?
Oh, I served a story there. When you go into basic training, they want to know if you're stationed in the States, where you're going to want to go. Right. I said, well, this kid's never been out of Wisconsin. Let's go to Texas, And then it says, if you're going overseas, where would you want to be stationed? And I said, well, this is in 71. I said, you're going to send me to Nam anyhow. So I'll go to Vietnam,
Wow.
So I volunteered for that, but I think the Army had a catch-22. If you ever watched the movie, if you want to go someplace, there's something wrong with you. They don't want to send you there.
Oh.
So I went to Europe, and I spent 19 months in Europe.
Wow.
Wow.
But you know what? How great is that and I remember because my dad was called to that conflict as a part of the SB 66. He was in the Air Force. And I actually remember when I learned it growing up, looking back, what he was actually going through. But I remember as a young child, I was 4 when he went over, and I remember as he was going over, there seemed to be some controversy. I could tell Mom and Dad were having serious discussions, and it seemed like that controversy was certainly existed outside of the household. So I was aware that something was going on. I didn't know it until later what all the controversy was, but you decided, at that point, if they were going to send you, you were ready and willing to go.
Sure.
Wow.
And prior to that, I had 3 brothers that were in the Army. They all put time in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And I would say it affected them because when they came back, they didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
And
right.
when the soldiers came back from Nam in that era, you didn't get no respect. You were,
right.
well, all the protesting going on and that
right.
was, against them.
Sure.
But we used to, my brother would have a reel-to-reel recorder, and he would tape his letters instead of write them. So we were getting reels from him over in Nam, and you could hear the bombs and the gunshots and everything in the back.
Wow.
And you could hear it in his voice when he would say, I got to go now. Because he was on, I think, 175 howitzer.
Wow.
But,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Just incredible stories here. So you served 71 to 73.
Correct.
And what from there? Where did it, at one point, you decided you wanted to start driving truck. Now, were you driving a truck before you met Elizabeth?
Yes, I was. I started in the military driving a deuce and a half over in Germany.
Right.
So I already got a taste of being out on the road. And when I got back, I started in a truss plant driving truck. And then from there, I bought my own truck and started pulling flatbed.
Wow.
And from there, I went to, I lost that truck due to financial, and then went to hauling produce with a straight truck locally.
Yeah.
And,
wow.
Yeah.
And then at some point, you met Elizabeth?
Yes. I met her, and I was driving for a company running Green Bay to Chicago 5 times a week. And when I met her, I told her I'm a truck driver, and I'm always going to be a truck driver. I'm not giving it up, And I said, if I lose my job, because I was Teamsters,
right.
I said, you're welcome to come along. Well, the company I worked for scaled way back. Actually, the man walked into Fort Howard and said, I need another nickel, $1,000 to haul this stuff, or I ain't hauling it. And they told him, you ain't hauling it. Competition's pretty stiff.
Right, yeah.
So I called her up, I think it was in October, if I'm not mistaken, and I said to her, I says, you willing to go on the road, or are you going on the road? I'm not sure how I phrased it for her.
Right.
But she said, yeah, and we started for a contractor driving for a packing plant up there. And then we started getting checks in the mail that had insufficient funds. And we talked to the guy running the packing shipping side of the plant. And he said, I said to him, are you going to treat us the same if we buy our own truck? And he said, sure, I'll treat you all right. So we bought a truck, and we've been on the road 30 years since.
Wow. Elizabeth, tell us a little bit about your life before you met Kenn, and then what it was like to transition into trucking. What were you doing before this? What was your life like before this?
Well, I used to drive school buses where I got the experience
right.
from
right.
with the bigger vehicle.
Sure.
And I was actually I had 4 or 5 different jobs.
Right.
I was a photographer at the racetrack where they did stock cars.
Yeah.
And Kenn was a race driver, and so we met that way.
Wow.
And I was also going back to school to be a computer programmer. I was on my 3rd year.
Wow.
And so when he told me he had lost his job, they scaled back, and he says, you want to go on the road? And I'm like, Okay, I guess let's give it a try. Thinking that
Sure.
maybe, okay, after 5 years, we'll be done.
Right.
Then after 10 years, we were still doing it. And I was thinking, well, maybe we'll almost be done. And because it was killing me
Yeah.
not to go back to school, you know.
Right,
I was not put on this earth to be a truck driver. I was convinced of that.
Right. Where did that change for you? Do you remember?
Can I interject something right here?
Please do.
There's a little bit of story before the story. When she was very young, her dad, he ran a fabricating plant in Hortonville, Wisconsin. He would work all day, get into an old Cracker Box Jimmy, and then he would go down to Gary and load steel out of Gary down there.
Yeah.
Well, she would go along and stand up, you know, because she was just a young
I
kid.
was only about 5,
Yeah.
and
Go
so
ahead.
he'd take me with, and
Wow.
he would be going through Milwaukee, and I'd see him over there in the driver's seat kind of nodding off. Long day for that man.
Yeah.
And I remember saying, thinking, this is my job to keep him awake.
Right.
So, Dad, how come you're not in that lane, and how come you're right in the middle lane? And so he explained to me why he was in the middle lane going through Milwaukee and things like that. And
Wow.
I guess I must have fell in love with it in my subconscious because,
Right.
you know.
Well, because I'm sure a lot of those lessons that you learned from him have now come to fruition when you were behind the wheel, right?
Absolutely.
Work ethic.
He would
Yeah.
be so proud of us. Yes, he work ethic big time. He
Right.
did nothing but work, and that's kind of where we're at. But you know,
Another little story on this. we were our first trip out driving for this contractor, and we were going, of all places, through Wyoming. Got stopped on top of Sherman because there's some doubles up there, didn't want to come off. So we got around the doubles and we started off the hill and we started to slide. And there was a car in front of us, and I said, well, if this car gets out of our way, me and another carrier are going to change a little paint. Well, the car got out of the way. We hit a piece of pavement that had some traction in it, and on we went.
It was the first time I had actually been on a long haul trip. I got to the bottom to the truck stop, and I called my mom and said, "I almost died, Mom." You know, just totally was.
Yeah,
I was
wow.
alone, and this is what I was going to do with my life. I
Right.
really found it difficult.
Wow.
And the other thing was, when we would cross a scale, come up on a
Hub Bridge.
scale, she would say, "What's the big deal about crossing a scale?" You know, she didn't understand what consequences were on crossing a scale.
Right. Sure. I mean, there was so much to learn.
Definitely.
Honestly.
I was so green.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, I've been talking to drivers for 22 years, and I don't drive truck for a living. But every day they're telling me these news stories, and I'm thinking, wow, I just can't imagine. I mean, it's just this wealth of knowledge that you learn, and you have to learn, or you're not going to get it. You're not going to be a great driver.
Absolutely.
Elizabeth, what would you tell the younger Elizabeth that had been in it for about 2 years? What advice now would you share with her, do you think?
Wow. I really don't. I guess it's what you're here for.
Right.
So enjoy it while you can.
Right.
I guess.
Yeah.
And the way it's developed, I guess I'm just thankful that we can. I got into a situation where we can spread some light on a great industry.
Yeah,
Bottom
right.
line, this
Yeah.
is such a great industry.
It is.
It's so needed. People don't have a clue how important the truck drivers are.
Yeah.
And to maybe bring some light to that is just, to me, it's just awesome. I
Yeah.
love the idea.
Right. It is really, Ken, this is where I get this enjoyment. I really see the beacons of the industry, those that are just the great stewards of the industry. And I think this program helps to elevate that even more. What would you say, Ken, to a young driver, maybe not a young Ken, but a young driver in today's world, maybe a 30-year-old that's looking to go out? What advice would you give that young person?
Join a good company.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about a company driver, because if you can stay with a company and you get a quality company that you can retire to, you'll have something. I mean, we're owner-operators, and we work hard. And, I mean, I said back when I first started, if I could make $1 a mile, I would be making money.
Yeah.
Well, now here it is. Steer tire, the bias tire would cost you $60. Fuel was about 60 cents a gallon.
Wow.
Now we're up to $3 plus a gallon, and the steer tires will cost you under $1,000 for a set.
Wow.
And our freight rates, they're not coming near what $1 a mile would be.
Right.
Like I say, if you can get a good company, join up with it,
Yeah.
and keep your CDL clean, because then you can demand wherever you want to go.
Yeah. Who are you guys leased on to right now?
Landstar.
Great company. In fact, it was
Absolutely.
Michelle Brummett at Landstar who nominated both of you. What can you say, sing the praises of a Landstar? I've heard it before. In fact, Elizabeth, we'll let you start.
Very safety oriented. That was what really drew us. Love the safety orientation that they are centered on.
Yeah.
And they allowed us to be a part of that. We were part of the No Zone program,
Right.
and so we could share our knowledge and experience with the kids in high schools,
Right.
and also the Girl Scouts and things like that. And love their safety program. It's just great.
Yeah.
That, and they have some respect, obviously, because Michelle nominated us.
Yeah.
They really have respect for their drivers. They appreciate what we do, and they look at us as a human being, and that they take good care of their drivers.
Yeah. Ken, you want to expand on that?
They call us BCOs, business capacity owners.
Yeah.
We're not owner-operators. And I believe with Landstar, we service customers. And you take care of them people, and they will take care of you.
Love
Right.
the partnership. There's
Yes.
a partnership there that really is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about your location. Where's your location going to be, Ken?
North Chicago.
All right. Wow. Nice.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, how often do you get to this location? Is it a TA or a Petro?
TA.
And how often do you get to that location?
Not very often, but we feel comfortable there when we get there.
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
It's been a TA from its conception.
Right.
And that's many years. That's longer than just a little bit longer than we've been driving. So we've been going there for a long time.
Yeah. Right.
Many,
yeah.
many years.
Yeah. And that's fairly close to home. I mean, it's in that
Exactly.
region, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Can't wait to see that, the unveiling of both of your names up there on that marquee. What does that feel like, just thinking about that, Elizabeth?
Wow. I just can't even, I don't think I can even begin to describe. Unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah, and I can't wait to see some of the pictures. This is great too. Is that down the road I'm going to see some of these pictures being shared, and it's always great to see that. And along with this honor, of course, some great gimmies, some goodie bag, some swag from TA Petro,
Yep.
and all kinds of stuff. I hear there was a quilt in some of that swag. That's a really cool gift.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to work with Tom, see if we can get our hands on a quilt. That's just a great idea. But what a way to really bring it home, right? It's just terrific. Congratulations to you both.
Thank you.
Not
you.
just on this honor, but a stellar career, a terrific partnership, a true partnership in life that I think is to be commended.
Thank you.
So thank you for being here today. We greatly appreciate you both sharing your stories with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'd say one more thing.
Sure.
If you love what you do, I don't care what you do it well, and you don't work a day in your life.
There you go.
I mean, if you love it.
There you go. I keep waiting for somebody to tap on my shoulder in the middle of the night while we're doing the radio show saying, it's time to go get a real job. I love what I do. It doesn't feel like work, and I love hearing that from drivers, because this is how this industry stays strong, is with drivers who love it and who have the passion
dedicated
for
to it.
Thank you so much, Ken and Elizabeth, and congratulations once again.
Thank you.
And up next, our next honoree is a guy that I've known for years, and I know he's a terrific ambassador for this industry, Mr. Steen Gronlund. Steen, welcome and congratulations. How are you, buddy?
Good. Thank you, Eric.
What's it feel like to, well, first of all, when did you learn you were nominated?
Well, I was nominated last year, too, as a
Right.
finalist
Right.
last year.
Okay.
And then I found out I was nominated again at the Dallas show last year.
Okay,
last
so
summer.
this is your second nomination.
Yes.
So now you're thinking, all right, here we go. And then you learned you were a finalist. Is that what happened
Yes.
next? When did you learn
Leslie
that?
called me, and I said, I'm at the truck show in Dallas. She said, well, go say hi to Patty. So I did, and I got a picture with Patty and I, and then I've been on cloud nine since.
Wow, just terrific. And tell us about your career. You've been driving how long now? I'm looking at the numbers myself.
49 years.
49 years. 49 years driving trucks. Who are you with right now?
Mile High Bakery.
Mile High Bakery
out
in
Denver,
Longmont?
In Denver.
Denver?
Yeah.
All right. And you have a career mileage of 5.43, and it just so happens accident-free mileage of 5.43 million.
Yes.
I don't even know how to comprehend that. It's we love to honor million and multi-million drivers, but I mean, that's your entire career accident free.
Just been lucky.
You have to be one of the top in the nation right now in terms of accident free miles. I don't know if I can prove that, but I'm going to put $1 down on it for sure.
Well, you learn patience.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. You have to change your habits to make sure that your mind first. It's not just your hands and your feet. It's not just working the brake. It is about if your mind has the patience first, then you learn that you're going to be prepared for anything, better prepared for something that pops up in front of you.
Keep your eyes on look at the big picture ahead of you.
Yeah. What would you say has been the success in 49 years? What is it that you love about this job?
I just see in the country.
Yeah.
I love driving.
Right.
And meeting my customers and different places I go, and like I go to Peggy Sue's in Yermo, California for stop there all the time.
Yeah.
And
Now, you're originally from?
Copenhagen, Denmark.
And you became a U.S. citizen when?
May 26th of 2006.
Wow. I love those stories. What was that process like?
Oh, it was easy. I come down here in 1968. They moved a drilling rig down from Canada. I was working the rigs up there.
Right.
And so we all come down on visas because Vietnam was going on. And
Sure.
so then that's when so then the water hauler at the rig says, can you drive one of these? I need a driver. I said, well, I've been driving farm trucks since I was 10, 12 years old, So I started out in a 58 Mack with a 5 and a 4, and well, that's where I got my start.
Yeah, wow. And then next thing you know, when did you apply for citizenship?
In 2005, I think it was. I had tried to call. I had a green card for many years.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
then I had tried to call immigration, and they were telling me all kinds of stuff. I didn't understand them and stuff. So I finally called a lawyer in Boulder, and she said, well, it won't be too hard. I'll do all the paperwork. And so it cost you $1,000. And I went over there, and she did the paperwork. She gave me the questions and the answers, and studied them. I pretty much knew all the answers anyway, and then I just waited for them to call me. And then when I become a citizen, my vice president of Leprino Foods and his wife come with me, and my sister flew down from Canada, and brother-in-law flew down from Canada. And then I come home, and there's Linda. She's got all of my neighbors and my friends were lined the street waving little American flags, saying, I'm so proud to be an American by Lee Greenwood,
Right, yes.
Oh,
my gosh.
I was crying.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love those ceremonies. I love the stories from them. And, I know I'm just a few years late on this, but welcome. I mean, we welcome a guy like you, when we talk about the citizen driver, but then the fact that you went through that process, you became an American. To me, that's always a fascinating process, but always is something that warms my heart. When knowing that that's something you endeavored, that's something that you wanted to make happen. And so we're certainly proud to have you as a part of our citizenship here in the United States, no doubt. And in the trucking industry, you have been a beacon for quite some time. I want to just go down some of the things that you have accomplished. The OOIDA Safe Driving Award in 2017. You have you competed in the Colorado Truck Driving Championship for many years. The CMCA Driver of the Month Awards, and you were recognized, in fact, in 88, 2001, 2007, 2011. You were the CMCA Driver of the Year in 2007, 2008, nominated for the American Trucking Association's Driver of the Year Award. The Colorado Highway Watch Program, you were involved in that. You received and completed the training there. And, of course, you're part of our Million Mile Club going back to Bill Mack days. Yes. This month here, as we sit here, we're celebrating 50 years going back to when Bill started the show in March of 1969. And I think of where we are today, my old mentor who is still very busy, still very active, and started this mission statement of ours to be a constant companion for drivers, to give them the information and that companionship and be out there with them on the road all night. But then, further, we started recognizing the Million Mile drivers. I would have to look at our list too, and I think you're at the top of that list when it comes to safe miles. And we may have to come up with a special jacket for you in the Million Mile Club.
I am 169 on the Bill Mack Million Mile
You're
Club.
number 169, and that's, I'll tell you, and it's always great to recognize those drivers. But again, you just have to know what goes into it and how long that takes and what dedication that takes and what kind of awareness and creating the great habits out there that keep not just yourself safe, but those that you share the road with, you're keeping others safe. Our kids, our loved ones that are out there sharing the roads with trucks, you're part of helping keep them safe.
I still have the letter from Mindy back in the day when she sent me the letter saying I was number 169.
Yeah, just terrific. And we're so honored to have you part of that. So honored to have TA Petro, by the way, as a sponsor of the Million Mile program as well. But tell us about your location now that you are a citizen driver honoree. Where's your location going to
be? The Petro in Laramie, Wyoming.
Oh, my gosh. Laramie, Wyoming. I've never been there. Now, my wife has been up there. She's been up there on business a couple of times. We've always dreamed of having a ranch out there in that big open land territory up there. Just a beautiful part of the country. Why that location? How is that special to you?
Well, I go through there all the time.
Yeah.
And, so it's close to home.
Right.
I live in Longmont, Colorado, so we're just
not far.
Not that far.
Yeah. What is it like to go through that location all the time? Certainly, the staff has to become part family, right? You learn their names. Yeah. What's that like?
That's nice when they come in and recognize you. Hey, Steen.
Yeah.
And stuff.
And because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to provide that home away from home, those amenities, so that you can be well rested, well fed, get back on the road safely, and certainly that's part of their mission statement. I do know that, and watching the staff work at these locations, and I've been there, is just amazing.
Yes, they're awesome.
Yeah. What does it mean to you when you think about looking up at that location and seeing your name up in lights?
I'm going to be overwhelmed.
You deserve it, Steen. I mean, you honestly, again, you're such a great ambassador. You and I have had great conversations over the years. You are always present at great truck shows. I see your face all the time. You and I have become friends, and getting your dossier was like a whole new learning experience. I knew a lot of this stuff, but seeing it in this dossier and going through that was a real eye-opener and a great learning experience for me. I'm so proud to be able to share your story, to share the story of Kenn and Elizabeth and other honorees in past years, because these are the positive stories that need to be told.
You know, there's people there from Canada that I went to school with when we first come to Canada in 1954.
Yeah.
That road. The one girl, Dawnleen, she was 6 and I was 8, so anyway, she was too short to bridle her horse.
Yeah.
As well as rode horseback to school.
Right.
And so I didn't bridle her horse for her all the time. You know?
Wow.
And so we're still keeping in touch. She's she was in my sister's grade.
Wow.
And she was a grade behind me. And
That's
so
great.
Yeah, and,
That's
and
great.
Jerry Murray, and another friend that I've known him since, you
Yeah.
know,
Wow.
1954.
Yeah, just terrific.
Oh, yeah. I was baling hay one day, and the knotter on the baler broke. So there's nobody home, so I think I was 13 or something. So I just jumped on my horse and rode down to Sherwood. We only live a mile and a half from the border.
Yeah.
And so I went through the customs, and he said, "Where are you going?" I said, "Down here to Sherwood to get this piece for the baler." So he says, "Okay." And I come back and I show him the piece, and all right, you know, I didn't have no money. I just charged it to because they knew us, you know.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Wow. That's great. That's
Willie and Wilbur. They were from Texas.
Wow.
And we were, you know, they had the drawl.
Yeah.
And oh my God,
Right.
we thought that was so funny when they had the Texas drawl.
I love it. That's great. Yeah, it's funny. I grew up in Texas. My whole family's from Texas, and for some reason, I never picked up that draw. I don't know what y'all are talking about. I talk perfectly normal, but it's so great. Those stories, Steen, are just terrific, and your story again is a testament to this program, and really. As a judge, again, it made it very difficult. So congratulations to you. Congratulations to Elizabeth and Kenn. We greatly appreciate your time today. Congratulations on being honored. Please continue to share your advice and expertise with others out there on the road and in the industry, because every word you say is like gold. So thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.